Okay, part 3, because I'm technologically challenged and I don't know how to put all these videos into one clip. So anyway, ended up moving it over actually counterclockwise to see how it's going to work and see how the key and cylinder fit all in. And so now it's time for the reinstall of the retaining clips. So again, you just pull that out with a flathead screwdriver, put it back in. You'll see that the teeth all line up with inside the steering wheel. If you're pulling from the junkyard, make sure if the cylinder's out, make sure that all of the gears are looking good, or at least that green retainer clip is in, because then nobody used a screwdriver to jump this thing. If the gears are in there all shot, I would definitely just walk away. But anyway, that was my problem. I didn't have a key cylinder for this steering column from the junkyard, so I had to reinstall my old one. So anyway, so basically the retaining clip goes back in as it went out. Put it in with your fingers, as so. That's my neighbor and their little shit dog. Put this in, your flathead. It goes in pretty clean and tight. You just have to fiddle with it until it turns back in, as so. And you need to turn it until it all lines up with the gear, so they're all flush. You just turn it again until it lines up. I'm gonna have to put the camera down and try to just keep turning it until it all lines up, but you'll figure it out. If you're doing this and you've gotten this far, you'll figure out how to turn it. It just basically slides through the notches in there and lines back up and turns to get in. Okay, so I got it pretty much on to where it needs to go on the track, so I figured I'd start. So you just take your screwdriver and turn it until it lines up with the gears, but also, if you notice, it lines up with the slots up and down on the steering column, so they pretty much all just go straight in, and the notch up on top is how the key cylinder goes in. So I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we're going to try it. So now you want to reinstall this plastic retaining clip. Again, there's no top and bottom, it just fits in. Pretty much slide it in that way. Push it in with your fingers and it'll just kind of lock in there. You'll feel it. There's 4 tabs that just pretty much lock into the sides. Just push it in with your fingers. Be careful, because I don't know if you can get these parts. You probably can, but it's a pain in the ass. Okay, so now that plastic retaining clip is in. Again, be careful, because there's little notches on each end that grip in and don't break them off. I don't know what the asshole tax would be on that, but just make sure you don't push it in too hard, and make sure those tabs are not bent out and they don't break off. Just be careful with it. So basically it's time to reinstall the lock cylinder and see how it works. Okay, so I was right on going counterclockwise with that little gear inside the steering column. So basically now everything lines up. Key goes in. Turn it on. Turn it off. It sits right where it's supposed to, so that the auxiliary doesn't come on with the radio and you don't drain your battery when you pull the key. And that's that. So the moral of the story is, do not take that gear out of the steering column, and if you're going to, make sure you know exactly which tooth goes where, because one tooth off and this thing is a disaster. This is 4 times of pulling this thing to figure it out. But worst comes to worst, you go back to this video and hopefully I helped you out. So, thanks.